Good evening and welcome to another Car Talk with Chad and Poe. As always, here's my buddy Chad. Chad, we got a weather update yet?
75 and sunny, dew points at 1, the wind's at 7, humidity is at 63%. Back to you, Poe.
It's better than here. It's in the 90s here. And Florida's nice and Hawaiian-like in its feel tonight. So good for them. And the electric company's got to be loving us because of the money we're paying on air conditioning right now. My goodness. But it's just miserable. It reminds me, first time I went to Thailand, and you land and you're in this nice air-conditioned airport. Everything's so nice and moving along beautifully. You go out the sliding doors out into the area to pick up a cab. And it literally was like you walked into a wall, the heat, the humidity, and everything. And I was just like, my goodness. And a friend of mine who met me there, picked me up at the airport. He was like, oh, by the way, this isn't even the hot season. Jeez. So, it was 90 degrees, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and 90 degrees. So, to give you an idea, it was bad. Believe me, when I got to that hotel, I spiked that air conditioner and kept that room about 60 degrees the whole time I was there. So got Manny Chad there with you tonight. Where's your coffee from tonight?
Oh, my coffee?
Mm-hmm.
I just drink Folgers.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah, soon. Until we get to Poe and the Go coffee, then I'll be drinking that.
Yeah, the Zeno brand coffee. Like I said, everything's just about ready on that. It'll be ready to go real soon here. Just, cross the T's, dot the I's. You're going to do anything with business, you got to make sure you do it the right way, or it'll burn you in the long run. So let's see here. I see we got Marjan, we got Colonel Brockerts in here. So howdy. It says we got 6 people in the that are watching right now. So figured tonight, how about we talk about off-road vehicles?
Sure.
What kind of experience you got with any of them?
Pretty minimal. I mean, I used to work in parts stores for close to 20 years, so I sold a lot of parts for cars. Not too much for the bigger, like off-road stuff, but in general 4x4s a little bit.
What's the off-road scene up there in your area?
Not like you guys. I mean, you'll only see off-road trucks at if you actually go to a fair. You'll see like the regular, F-150s done up, but not like an off-road truck.
Right. Yeah. We used to get them. Trying to find a video really quick. We got mud bogs pretty much every weekend in central to northern Michigan. So they're out there. Let's see. Okay. All right, I'm gonna show you a little video. This was my last truck, the big one. That one. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, that was at a mud bog here. That was actually about 5 miles from my house. But that was the last truck that I had. And let's see, 66-inch tall tires, 43 inches wide. It gives you an idea how big that thing is looking at that guy standing there.
Oh, okay. We actually, I don't know if you want to skip ahead to this, but somebody actually does have a question.
Okay, I'll get to it in a second here.
Okay. I got excited.
Did you? All right, yeah, as soon as we...
take your time. That truck's cool.
That was the only truck that made it through that center bog there. Nobody could make it through down that center section. You see there were a few of them over there on the side that got themselves stuck. But that center section there was 5 foot deep. My old girl just walked right through it. So,
well, I only had, just so you know, I only got excited because I think I might have at least a halfway decent answer to the question.
There you go. Which doesn't happen right there.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So Marjan is asking question. My car horn just stopped working today. Any ideas on what it could be, Chad? And you let me know what you think, Poe. But I think you should trace the wire from the horn, see if it's number one loose, and rusted. If it's rusted, take some 220 grit or any decent sandpaper, sand it up, make sure it's nice and tight. make sure it's nice and tight and see if it works on. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, basically the same thing. I'm going to be looking for cracks along the lines in the wires. I'm going to look for bad connections. You have to check and see maybe it's going to go into a fuse panel, and it could be a blown fuse in there, all the way to it just being a simple matter of the horn itself has gone bad. You could probably get one cheaper on Amazon than you can try and go through like the parts stores and all that. Let me see, Marjan, if I can find you a picture of how we work on a truck that tall. Let's see here. Trying to get back.
It's hard working on the. When I used to work in the parts stores, even like the F-150s are so huge. Like when you're putting wiper blades on them, you gotta like stand on your tippy toes.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll show you right here. Okay, if you look in the top left picture, you see we had basically a staircase that went up to so people could get on and off the truck in the back section there. Literally any time that we needed to get up inside of it or do anything, we'd either climb on the tires. Those big cleats on there are just like rungs on a ladder. You can climb right up those, or we put a ladder up next to it if we needed to get to certain parts of it. And when we would take the big tires off of it, the military tires that fit those axles were, what were they? They were almost 48 inches tall themselves. So anything that we did with that thing was no easy feat, but you got used to it after a while. Things like with the hood, we didn't have a hood latch. We pinned the hood, which meant there were two bolts that came up through the block there at the front of the dog. We call it the cowling or the doghouse there on the front of the truck. And that's where, your skins go on, but everything is built around that. You've got your frame down in there. You got your firewall, you got your wheel wells and all that stuff. But up front there, it's a nice blocky section. You're able to drill through, put bolts through it. You drill straight through the hood. Hood goes down over it. You no longer have to worry about even having a hood latch. But your car horn stopped working. Most likely it's going to be some kind of connection fault that you're having there.
Yeah. Isn't it nice, Poe, to have, even when I had regular trucks, pickup trucks, it's nice. You don't even have to jack them up. You just slide right underneath and
yeah. But, I had to have that truck weighed 17,000 pounds. So I had to have I used a 10-ton jack if I needed to jack it up or anything. Well, we had to jack it up every time we took the tires off of it. Your Mojo. Hey, Joe, thanks for joining us, bud. Your old hunting truck down there in Florida. Yeah, you guys got the swamp buggies and all that stuff going. That's you guys got some real nice stuff. Plus the mud boggers nowadays. Those guys are building trucks just as nice as Monster Jam. So let's see. Colonel Brock, my bud had a deuce and a half. That thing could crunch its way in the mountains. Oh yeah. You ever had any dealings with a deuce and a half there, Chad?
No.
Well, I'll give you an idea. The axles up underneath my truck you just saw going through the mud, those came from a deuce and a half truck. Oh, okay. 2.5 ton military axles are top loaders. Those old deuce and a half trucks, a lot of them were multi-fueled. They could run on rubbing alcohol, gasoline, diesel. Wow. Oh, it was crazy. Those things could run on just about anything you put in them. And they were heavy, 25,000 pounds. They just literally would just push trees down as they're going along. They even went to a larger size, which was the 5-ton truck. And talking double capacity on weight, things like that. Those were some pretty awesome trucks. They still are. They still use them in the military. But man, I love those things.
I have heard about the tri-fuel for the military. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We had a customer that bought one. He was telling us about the tri-fuel.
I heard some crazy stories about the Russians that were way out in Siberia and those really remote camps and everything. And they would love it when the MiG-25 would come in, because the MiG-25 was apparently fueled with a form of vodka.
Wow.
So they'd get their stash of vodka coming in with that. I don't know how true that is, but that's what they used to call it. They called it the vodka plane. Let's see. Marjan, let's see. So you have to be in good shape to do that stuff. You got to be able to lift a lot of weight. You got to be able to move some heavy things. Those tires alone on that truck, those tires are what are called uncut. So they're basically stock tires, a stock thickness on the tread and everything. Those things weighed over 1,000 pounds. Huge, heavy 1/2-inch plate walls on the wheels and everything. Whew. They're a lot of fun to work with. Let's see. No, actually, the insurance was for doing the rides, and the reason I got out of doing it was because the insurance just went so crazy. It was almost impossible to keep it up. You just couldn't make enough money to keep going with it. But as for driving it down the road, trying to find a picture now, I have a photograph of me driving that truck down the road. All I needed when I called and checked on everything was one of those triangles that they put on the back of a tractor or a combine or something going down the road. So
excellent.
Chad, you ever go four-wheeling or quadding or whatever?
Not really, no. I've always wanted to.
How about dirt biking?
Actually, my cousin once took me on the back of his four-wheeler. So yeah, I guess
You did
cool.
Did some quadding. Yeah. It's I mean, the thing is that it's a lot of, it's not for everybody, but a lot of people, once you get that in you and you're out there and you're two tracking it, things like that, it gets in your blood. You want to get out there and start just more and more and more. I'm getting some
yeah, I did like it. I mean, I was a kid, but it was just in his front yard, but I still liked it.
Oh, that's the thing. That's how I learned to ride dirt bike was in our front yard. Had a Husqvarna. That's what it was. Was my first dirt bike, and man, that thing was mean. My dad actually ended up breaking his arm on it. Oh, wow. That's what he gets for being such a nice guy. So,
Yeah, for using your equipment second time.
Well, he was trying to show me how to ride it and forgot his own first rule of if the bike gets away from you, let go of the handle, let go of the throttle. So this will give you an idea here. This is me. That was quite a bit of weight ago, but that's me and one of my friends actually changing out the tires on the truck. So yeah, it was a big truck, and those tires, boy, they weighed a lot. And if you look in this picture here, you can see the rolling staircase that I built for it. And then in between the tires there, underneath of it, you can see the ladder. That was how I was getting in and out of it.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't always take the ladder with me, because my thoughts were, if I can just walk right up the staircase into the back of the truck, why am I needing to put that ladder up there? So but it'll give you an idea. The actual frame on that truck, if you look down just underneath the body at the top of the tires there, you see the long black frame going back. That's actually the stock frame from the 2.5 ton truck. So
okay,
we took the axles, the leaf springs, and the frame from it, modified the frame so they could do what I wanted it to do. So it was.
What'd you have in the bed? What'd you have in the bed there, Poe?
Those are seats out of a school bus.
Oh, okay. Just wondering.
And if you'll see, there's two side by side, and then right up against the back of the cab, you can see a little bit of a slant there, a little dark edge slant going down. Yeah. And that was another one we put there. So on each one of those benches, you could put 2 people. So that's 8. And then we had the one at the back, and that gave us 10 people per ride on it. And, if you had the right fair festival that was going on at the time, you could literally, every time that truck rolled out, $5, and it's $50 for about 5 minutes, come back, reload, another $50. You could make some good money with them. But the insurance got so high, it was hard to do anything with it. Let's see. Go down here. ATV are big in Arizona, going to the national parks. Yeah, a lot of that, and a lot of your dirt or your trail bikes out there are doing it. My experience with off-roading, when I was young, I started with the dirt bikes. We had lots of areas where people would just go in and clean them out with their tractor or whatever, make little hoopty-doos for us and things like that. So we were always out riding around, having a good time. And then as I got older, I started, I met up with a guy who had the monster truck, started working with him, going out and do shows with him, learning how to work on the truck and everything. And my first 4x4 that I had was a 78 Chevy Blazer that was buried to its frame in the mud, in the field. The mud had all dried up as hard as a rock. And I went up and I talked to the guy that owned it. And I'm like, hey, what are you going to do with that truck? And he says, look, man, he goes, I can't get that truck out of my field. I can't even use that field because of it. He says, if you give me $500 and you get that out of there, and it's yours. And I went and got the $500. He gave it to me. He gave me a signed title. He didn't know it, but I called my uncle. My uncle brought his backhoe over, and he went ahead and dug it right out. And that guy, like, boy, you're serious, ain't you? So yeah. So
Nice.
took it to my buddy's shop who did the monster trucks. We took the original leaf springs, original axles, everything out from underneath it. We took the motor out, rebuilt the motor. It was a Chevy 350. We put it with a Holley high-rise dual intake with dual Predator carburetors on it. We put 2.5 ton front axles, front and rear on it, so it had front and rear steering, and then topped it off with what were called 44-inch groundhog tires. And man, that thing was a monster. It believe me, when you rolled around, and we did it intentionally, we put the horns on top of the carburetor so it would stick the air cleaner that much higher, and then we had the scoop intake on the top of it, so it looked meaner than it ever was. And I left it that stock brown that had come in. I just loved that truck. It was great. But because I'm a nutcase, do all kinds of crazy stuff, I ended up totaling it out, because you have something with that much horsepower, those big axles, those big of tires underneath of it, but you have a stock frame. Guess what gives out first on it? So we pretty much pinched her in two, doing some crazy stuff in the field one night. It was worth it. We had fun.
Yep, definitely.
We just took it apart and kept all the parts for another build.
Nice.
So I can't believe you've never done any off-roading.
No, it's cool though. I've had trucks, so I've had regular trucks.
Yeah. I won't have a truck anymore if it's not 4-wheel drive. And that's simply, here in Michigan, we get that wild weather here. You get the snow, and it'll come in literally like a blizzard, and it'll pile snow up so high. So next truck I get, I'm probably going to end up getting like a little Ford Ranger or something like that, changing it out. I want to make it a diesel.
Yeah.
It's one of those diesel engines I've got. It'll really cut down on the gas, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Can you make not like that, but yeah, there's some crazy ones. There's some transformers out there that they use at the monster truck shows that literally fold down into like an armored personnel carrier or something like that. They're pretty wild. Let's see, Marjan. You would like going to do 4-wheel drive in Colorado? Yeah, I've been to Colorado, and then I've also we did the Pikes Peak Challenge one year with a monster truck. Let's see here. Why is my mouse not working? Have either of you done snowmobiles? You ever done snowmobiling?
Unfortunately not. No.
I have. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, here in Michigan, you can't say you live in Michigan and never gone on a snowmobile. I think it's actually a law here. But yeah, they're crazy. You have some that are made just for cruising, just like with your motorcycles. But I know so many people that have just flat out just supercharged them, turbocharged them, whatever they can do to them. And you got these things that are just screaming through there 30, 40 miles an hour, probably even faster than that. I just know that I'm like, no, it's too much for me. I'm sitting basically on a set of skis with a motor, and it's just going wherever it wants.
I've always wanted to get one, because we do have a lot of snow in Buffalo in the winter, obviously. And
there's areas around here that in the wintertime, the snow will come down, and before they get the roads cleared off, everybody's going around on snowmobiles to get around.
That's what they do here too. Yep.
Yeah. So
they're okay with it. Law enforcement's okay with it, because they help. The snowmobile clubs help law enforcement out and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, now the city that I was chief of police in, we had a specific ordinance that any vehicle that was going to be on any roadway had to have some kind of licensing, whether it be ORV or something like that. If it had an ORV sticker on it, then a lot of times we'd allow it. Hey, Dave's here from Gotta Love Thailand. Welcome,
cool.
Dave. Dave, if you haven't heard, I'm in what is this, day 4 now. I'm doing 30 days straight of live streaming every day. And but this is our usual Wednesday night 8 p.m. car talk with Chad and Poe. So we're always talking about stuff that is of interest to us, and they're always a lot of fun. We have a good time with them. So
Absolutely.
let's see.
I
Oh,
like
okay.
that people are starting to ask car questions too. That's funny.
Yeah, and I love that. So,
Yeah, me too. Because some of the stuff I haven't thought about in a long time. I don't work in the car industry anymore.
Oh, Bronk, you want to know how fast a 4-wheel drive can go? Your modern supercars are all-wheel drive, basically 4-wheel drive units. Your Lamborghinis, your Bugattis, I think I know some Ferraris are, but yeah, they're all coming in with all-wheel drive. So they're basically 4-wheel drive technology that they're using in them. My BMW X3, and it was insane because it would tell me the percentage that it was putting to each axle, depending on how the pull or the push ratio was in moving the vehicle along. So it automatically adjusted which one was getting more power to it as compared to the other axle. And I know that my BMW X3 would do 153 miles an hour. So I know they'll go fast. I forget what his name is, Joey, with what is the name? What is his truck? Joey Sylvester has a monster truck, and Bad News. The Bad News monster truck. Is that what it is? It's a really nice looking truck, and he just ended up breaking a world record with that truck. I believe it was either the fastest speed, Bad Habit. That was the name of his truck. He had. Let's see here. I'm trying to pull up a good picture of it. All of his equipment is just absolutely gorgeous and clean. You wouldn't believe how nice this stuff looks. And he just broke the distance record with his truck for the longest distance. And I believe, Brown with War Wizard just broke the land speed record with a monster truck, I think of 108 miles an hour in the quarter mile. So let's see. Looking for a 4-wheel drive option vehicle. Nowadays, those things, it doesn't matter. Those things can haul it. The big problem you have is in your standard selectable 4-wheel drive, your pickup trucks, your Jeeps, your SUVs, things like that, where you're selecting between 4-wheel drive and 2-wheel drive. It's a matter of the how long the front axle can last on those, because they're not made for constant usage. And we see our dear old friend Apostate Alex is here. Welcome, Alex. Welcome. How are things going across the pond there tonight? We're talking about off-road vehicles and things like that. So, Chad, have you ever heard of something called a Sherpa?
No. What is it, Paul?
They are made in Russia, and they are an off-road vehicle. And what's insane about them is they're made for going through like the Russian tundra and such. And they are absolutely unstoppable. Wow. It costs between $150,000 to $250,000 for one. It's just really strange. They have these huge knobby tires on them. They move like a skid steer, and meaning that if you pull you're gonna have levers for turning it. So you pull the right lever, and the right tires lock up while the left tires keep going, or they'll actually reverse. Okay. On the right hand side. So it doesn't have steering like a conventional vehicle, so that allows it to have a narrower stance on it. And it's got those huge inflatable tires on it that give it a real good footprint in the mud or the water or whatever. They can go over mud, water, anything like that. They were made to originally go over the tundra. And, you could be going along on solid ground. Next minute, you're in 60 feet of muck that you got to get through. Well, the Sherpas are known for the fact that they'll go right through anything.
They're the coolest heck.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a there's something they call them the money bogs in Florida. I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see here. I want to get actual video of the Sherpa, because when this guy goes through, it is insane. All right, there we go. Pause it. Get ready. We'll share. When I saw this for the first time, I was just like, what in the world? So
Wow.
this is it going through.
Wow, that's some deep water too.
Oh,
Or mud.
that's just the start of it.
Jesus.
It deepens. See how it's got how it uses the steering like the skid steer, where one side will lock up while the other side's moving to turn it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, I see it. Yep.
yeah, and basically what it's got, if you look at the tires there, they're basically big scooper tires, is what they are.
Wow.
And so they handle both mud and water and anything else. But this pit that it's going through, and I mean, it's literally just walking through it, is called the Money Pit. And so what's going on is you got all these people in these, and you can see a lot of the big 4-wheel drive trucks in the background and everything. They tried to make it through that pit because underneath the water is just slush, maybe 4 or 5 feet of slush. That's just this nasty mud. And these guys were lucky, you're lucky if you had some of them that made it down to where the Sherpa is now. If they got that far, they were some big time trucks, but they'd all bog out at some point. And the Sherpa just walks its way right through it. Let me see.
Yeah, no problem at all.
He turns around and comes right back at it. And, you think that this would be not much for him. But when you start looking at some of the trucks that were actually going into that bog before and after the Sherpa, you'll see a couple of them. One of Joe Peno's little swamp buggies that he was talking about, there was one set up on the top. You could see it on the top side there, and people standing up on it, big, huge tractor tires and all. And of course, you always got somebody got a little bit too much liquor in them. But
she's a fan and she's trying to get it. That's funny.
You see how tall those trucks are behind it, where it was going out. Here's one of those big blown alcohol injected trucks.
Oh my
big
God!
Tube chassis, big tractor tires and all. I mean, you see just slinging mud like crazy, huge chunks. And you see how far down the pit it got.
Yep.
We're talking something that has huge horsepower. So these Sherpas, yeah, they're crazy. I love them. I just can't afford them. When you're talking 150, 200 grand for something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But there's so many of them in the United States right now that you don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Apostate Alex watching 3 streams at once. What? No.
I didn't know there was 2 other streams going on. Yeah.
Yeah, you have Mark and Claire are on right now. I don't know who else is on.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah, I didn't know about the other one.
Let's see. Look and see if we got any other questions on that. But yeah, there's been some insane innovations in the off-road world and things like that. Have you ever seen a truck with 10-foot tall tires on it?
No.
Let me see here. I'll show you. Let's see. All righty. Here we go. Just got to make sure I get a large enough picture that it can be seen.
Yep.
Let's see here. Trying to get one that shows some comparison to it. Yeah, that'll work. So, yeah, it's crazy how these things work out, but there you go. Now, see the red truck in front of it has tires about the size that were on my Blazer. And
okay.
Those are about 38.5s, maybe up to 44 inches. But see the kid walking behind the Bigfoot truck there.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's huge.
Yeah, what they did was they basically made like a ladder frame where they had, they were able to increase the height of the frame to make sure that they could get the body lifted up enough to sit it over top those tires. Mm-hmm. But they, very limited in what they did with that because it was so hard to move it. 10 foot tall, those tires were oversized load wherever they want.
Nice.
No, Marjan, you're not getting AAA to change those tires. As a matter of fact, nowadays, it's interesting. Most cars don't even come with spare tires on them brand new anymore. Whenever we get a new car, one of the first things we do is we buy an aftermarket rim that matches the stock rims for it, and have the same tire that would come on it originally, and then put our own we have a full size spare for whatever vehicle we're on. There's so many of them nowadays. Let's just go ahead, pick the car up, take it to a tire repair place. Shoot, I can change tires. My wife can change tires. Our kids can change tires. So we don't really worry about it that much. They can get it done, and we don't need to worry about that stuff. Plus, I don't know. And do you guys have the courtesy patrol in your state, Chad?
No, not that I know of. No.
Here in Michigan, I know we've got in Ohio as well. There's something called the courtesy patrol, and basically what it is one of those high deck vans that drives around. They got a big flashing arrow sign, a bunch of lights and everything. Well, if you break down, run out of gas, something like that, they'll pull up behind you, light everything up. If you run out of gas, they can give you a gallon of gas so you can get to a gas station nearby. You get a flat tire, you're unable to change it yourself, they can change your tire for you. They'll do it all right there on the side of the road for free. And it's like I said, it's called the courtesy patrol. If there's a huge accident, they help with traffic control, those kinds of things. So it's a real nice thing we got here. But let's see. Oh, Colonel Brock, you've been to Singapore?
Wow.
So yeah, my fake I got was in Bangkok, actually. That's a really interesting story there. A friend of mine and I were looking. We just wanted to see if they actually had the fake Rolex shops like they talk about on YouTube and all that. And so a friend of his who's Thai, he came with us. He talked to a tuk-tuk driver. Tuk-tuk driver's like, yeah, hold on a second. He reaches behind his seat. And he pulls out this sheet of fake Rolexes and all these very expensive watches and everything. And I was like, seriously? And he's like, yeah. So he took us to the shop. We got there. He went in. He made the introductions with the shop employees. They motioned for us to come behind the counter because they were selling like fans and cheap electronics and all this stuff. You go behind the counter, they take you through a secret door into the back room of this place, and it's full of all these designer handbag knockoffs, all these different watches. It was insane. And then here it is. You end up like, I'm like, okay, I'm not, that's cool. I'm going to leave it at that. But my buddy ended up buying me a fake Rolex, cost him like $150. And to be honest with you, I've got friends who have Rolexes who see it and they're just like, wow, where'd you get that? That's a nice watch. They don't even realize it's a fake. You feel it. It's very heavy. It's about a half a pound of weight. It's insane. So
nice.
Let's see. Marjan.
I bought a fake one in New York City.
Oh, did you really? How was that?
Yeah, same deal. They do it right out in the streets though.
Oh, I was about to say, it was that the guy opens up the jacket and he's got the fakes in there.
Oh, they're even more aggressive. They just keep. Maybe if they get tipped off, maybe they take the stands down. But right out in the streets, they had just tables and stuff. And like for the purses, they put a tarp down.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, I've seen things like that where they'll just walk up right there on the sidewalk, throw a tarp or a blanket or something down and lay all their stuff out for sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
they do it quick.
Now, how often do you get down to New York City?
I was down there about 6 months ago for you. I only go for union events. So.
Oh, do you? I thought you were there for Broadway. Honestly, that's been one of the things I wanted to do with my daughter is go see a Broadway show, like Wicked or something like that. I'd love to go see something like that with her, and just have a good time in New York City. But I think I'll wait till things get a little bit less dangerous there. So
yeah,
I hear it's a bit out of control right now, and I really don't want to eat it on a subway track. So.
You don't want to let anyone know you're a tourist. But other than that, no one really mess with me.
Yeah. Let's see, Marjan. In parts of Arizona and Colorado, when you are on federal land, you cannot even get phone services. So you have to know how to change your own tires. See, I'd never heard about that, but we've got T-Mobile, and for some reason, even when it was Sprint, just some of the worst coverage I've ever had. Chad can tell you, be on the phone with him. I'll be in the living room, get up and walk to the kitchen and lose phone signal. Have to hang up and call him back when I get back in the living room.
Yep, the same way.
Yeah, I'm used to that. So one of my big things was making sure that my kids knew how to change their own tires and check their fluids, change the oil in their vehicle and everything. Let's see. Yeah, Brock, we'll have to see if we can get Chad in a tuxedo. Maybe we'll do one of these. I'll wear one of my suits. And Chad can You got to get one of those Saturday Night Live tuxedos with frill.
I would like to get one for the characters,
That's pretty crazy.
like the blue tux.
I am trying very hard. My daughter is trying to find them for me. Some of the pictures from when I went to some of those Comic-Cons with them to go hang out. And, I'd like to have those because, I had a great time with the kids. I posted one where I was a character from a a character from a video game that I play with my son. And, so that, for me, if it's for my kids, I don't care that I don't get embarrassed. I'll do things. I love doing that stuff. So,
yeah.
So, Chad, what do you know about rock climbers?
Rock climbers?
Yeah.
Pretty much nothing.
Really?
What is that? I don't even know what that refers to.
They are some insane, they call them rock climbers, rock bouncers. There we go. Let's see here.
Yeah, let's see what's up.
I'm going to load it up here and we can take a look here.
Sounds good.
Basically what they do is they take these Jeeps, things like that, and they will take them to these events and just literally who can get up these mountains best.
Oh, that's pretty neat. Oh, wow.
If you can't tell, that's a 4-cylinder.
No,
that's an all they're they build these things in these shops.
Wow.
I get this one. This one looked crazy.
Jeez, that's cool.
Now think about a little thing like that got a V8 in it.
Yeah.
A lot of them have front and rear steering. And these guys are crazy.
Ooh, that one's on fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he may have blew his tire and might have had something in there that caused that.
Jeez.
they're literally screaming stop at him.
Yeah, he didn't know, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, look at that one. Rear engine.
Jeez.
Look at it go. Let's see. And I can't tell. Look at that.
Wow.
He caught that tree. And these guys will roll all the way back down. I was
going to say, they're designed just to roll over and be okay, huh?
Yeah. Look at it. And see, that's one of the big things is that you start getting in that position, just gun it out and drive your way out of it.
Yeah.
But he's already disqualified because he's off track. You see the yellow tape line there. And these events are a lot of fun to go to and watch. They do some. Oh, is that engine beside him?
I don't know.
Yeah, the engine's of what would be the passenger seat.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he's got rear steering. Now this is a pretty standard one. It's a rock bouncer, 2-seater. Let's see what kind of axles we got there. Those looks like 2.5-ton military axles. You see how the top of the axle here? See that big section there?
Yeah.
That's where the input goes to the axle, and it actually has a way that you can send a shaft out to the other axle from outside of that one. So if you have like those 6x6s or something like that, that's where you can get those. Neat. That's it's fun. It's crazy. You start getting on some of that stuff, and man, it'll shake your teeth right out of you. Have you ever seen Icelandic hill climbing?
No.
Yeah. Let's see.
See that. All right.
Yeah, I think I found one. Oh yeah, these things absolutely insane. So I got into that. I actually have been to one of those events, and they are just insane. Let me get to some good. There you go here.
Wow. Jeez, that's straight up too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh, they're going to show from that side. Yeah. There we go.
Jeez.
And they just claw their way up these things.
Yeah. That's insane.
And if you'll notice, they got those big paddle tires like the Sherpa does. They're just not as tall.
Yep. I had no idea anything could get up this thing.
Yeah, you look it up on YouTube, something like that. I actually The first time I'd ever heard of it was watching that show Top Gear that we were talking about with Simon.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they're trying to see if there's any real good ones because some of them, they'll literally look at that. I mean, they'll sit there and they can't get full momentum, so they'll literally slide sideways across the edge of a cliff. These things are so fast they can actually drive on water.
Wow.
They get enough wheel spin and momentum, and they there you go. They'll actually go out there in the ocean off the beach. You see how it's doing? It's got so much wheel spin and momentum that it literally keeps it above the water. They can drive right across the surface of the water. So a lot of fun, crazy stuff. I love anything that's insane. I love that stuff.
That is insane. That is great.
Yeah, and and I've seen people use so many different kinds of things. There was one guy put a rotary engine in one, and just to see how it would do. It created a great amount of torque. It just couldn't get the wheel speed that he needed to do it. It's always come back to, folks, I've seen guys going all the way up to Rolls-Royce V12 engines, things like that, 3,000 horsepower naturally aspirated engine. And yeah, they just crazy, but it's so heavy that it makes it pretty much unusable. And so they're pretty cool with that. So, well, what kind of off-roading have you do any boating, anything like that?
Oh, I wish I could say I have. I mean, I had a friend that had a boat when I was growing up, but bad experience. I mean, it was a boat. It was a small lake, Chautauqua Lake, and of course the boat died. So we had to get help to.
Give me 1 second. Take over for a second here, Chad. Let me run it.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, everyone. I'm having fun with this. I like the car questions. I like the car. Like I said, I worked in parts stores where, we weren't mechanics, but people did ask us questions like about the horn and stuff, and it's nice to help out the little I know, share the information. Because usually something like a rusty ground wire and you scrape it with sandpaper or something like that for the horn or for the charging system. It's just great hanging out with you guys. Usually I'm in character doing Clearwater Chad, which I love. But it's nice for you guys to know that I'm more than just a character. I'm a real guy, All the questions are great. I think we messed one up here too. Let's see if I can get it before the poll gets back. Am I right? It might be too hidden. This is Chad.
Cat in the neighborhood. Roscoe was going absolutely ballistic about it. So.
Oh, okay. No worries.
He's the kind. He's so headstrong. We have that invisible fence, and they had to put it on a higher setting just to get him to respond to it. And he still, if he sees that cat, he will run right up to that invisible fence, and then you'll hear him yarp, and then he'll get back in the yard, go right back at it again. That smart dog. He tries to use the doorknob and everything, but he can't figure out if I go up to that point. He knows the exact line is all the way around the yard. Any other time, he stops from it, but. The cat gets out there, he loses his mind. So
no worries. We had a good talk. I was just about to answer a question. Marjan's asking again. I don't know if I fully understand. Marjan's asking, can the airbag go off? The last one there. Could the airbag go off? I think if the person's working on the car.
Oh, well. The way an airbag works is a lot like the way a bullet is fired from a gun. So let me find something here that'd be a good example. Okay, so this pin would be the airbag deployment module, and they're set to where they crush at a certain point, and that's what sets it off. And it takes at least that minimum amount of pressure. So basically, it'll hit like that, and then the airbag will deploy. I've told the story before, and the great thing for me was that our city mechanic was the one who was sitting right beside me in his car talking to me when the airbag went off in the patrol vehicle I was driving, literally driving down the main street of our city. Says someone has a really high-pitched weird noise in the background. If that's anything, that might be the fans on my computer doing that. If they are, I don't know why it's picking them up. My microphone is only supposed to be going towards me. I don't have a mono-directional. Let's see.
I don't hear anything on my end, but
Well, yeah, that I hear something like that, but I think it's coming from inside my computer itself, my PC.
yeah.
So, but I'm driving down the road, and our mechanic pulls up beside of me, and we're at a light. We're talking, and we're pulling up to a light, and I put my foot on the brake, and the next thing you know, everything went dark, and then it was foggy. I was burning all over my arms and my face. I just completely confused. My ears were ringing like crazy. And the mechanic comes over, drags me out of the car, and he, I'm like, what happened? What happened? He goes, dude, the airbags went off. And I go, I didn't hit anything. He goes, I know. Well, they gotten it to the station, found out that the guy the shift before me had gone over a really bad set of railroad tracks and pretty much pushed in the push bumpers to where they had it just on the verge of making contact to set off the airbag. And when I pulled it, stop, something had rattled free, and next thing you know, it sent the airbag off on me. So yeah, they will go, they can go off, and they also had that recall on them because one reason, I don't remember what the recall purpose was, but they were either prematurely going off, or they were not going off properly. But it's basically what it is. It's a chemical reaction kind of thing. It's two different chemicals that when they come together, they create a gaseous product that fills up the airbags almost instantaneously, and that's how the airbag system works. And the airbags are made to be able to not hold air, actually, and the reason for that is that once they deploy, as you come forward into them, they're made to deflate to take the inertia out of the impact. And they're an ingenious invention that they came up with that has saved untold numbers of lives because of it. So how many airbags have you set off there, Chad?
No, unfortunately, yeah. I wish I had a good story, but not unfortunately.
My good story comes at my own misfortune, and comes from somebody else not reporting that they'd actually damaged a vehicle in the first place. Think about if I'd gotten into a high-speed chase with that car and had those airbags go off at, say, 80 to 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Not only I lose vision, I'm unable to control the car, I don't know where I'm going, but the next thing you know is I have a collision and I have no airbags to save me now because they already deployed on me. So yeah, what that was just direct negligence on someone's part. Alex, my mom, that's so British. My mom had a car accident once. Her only injury was actually a cut on her face from the airbag. Yeah, you'll see there are people complaining. Like I was saying, with me, there was an intense burning sensation because as the airbag popped out, it raked down across my arms and caused this burning sensation. And then the powder that comes out of the airbag itself, I was coughing that stuff up for about 2 months. Apostate Alex, the noise is Chad's. Cuts in when he speaks, but as I said, it's minor. Don't sweat it. You son of a gun. You just trying to do everything. You're OSA.
So. Yep. Yeah. Oh man, don't get me started.
Are you out ethics again?
Yep, pretty much.
Let's see here. All right, so I can turn my fan back on. All right. Just realized the detailing of Mini Chad shirt. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, Marilyn did such an awesome job with that Mini Chad. Marilyn Honig. What's Marilyn's YouTube page, Chad?
Oh, yeah. Marilyn Honig, Coffee, Crafts, and Cults.
Yeah. Does an awesome job. And check out Chad's channel because she's on does a lot of streams with Chad over there. They do a lot of crafting streams, things. I've jumped in on a couple of them. It's a good time. Alex has been there. Apostate Alex, His Holiness, has been there with us. So also, if you haven't heard me before, my bud Joe Pinto, he has a channel called Your Mojo, and you've seen me do stuff for his channel. Great guy, has a lot of great inspirational kind of messages that he puts out there. Really, really great guy. I know that there's been a few people who've jumped over already from past live streams. Let's see, where is he? My buddy Dave from Gotta Love Thailand. And that's the name of his channel. Gotta love Thailand. Dave's a real great guy. He's got does some great live streams from over there in Thailand. He lives in an area of Thailand called Surin, Surin, which is northeast of Bangkok. And if I understand correctly, that's a hot area of Thailand. I'm not talking about crime or anything. I'm talking about the temperature. That's a hot joint over there, bud. So let's see. Yeah, Gary, it was the invisible fence making that sound. So yeah, folks, thank you, Alex. Don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're hitting the notifications. For some reason, notifications just turn off for some reason. Folks will have their notifications set, and next thing you know, they're not getting anything done with it. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Another thing that helps on all the channels that you go to, if they're doing a live stream afterwards, go into the actual comments section under the videos and just leave a comment in there. Hi, whatever. That helps with the algorithms as well. FYI, chat is being weird for me tonight on every stream. Occasionally fails to post comments. I think it's got to be. It seems like they're having a lot of issues on there.
Yep.
And I don't know what's going on with it or why they're having all of these issues going on, but that's just, YouTube has some problems and they need to make sure they're taking care of it.
True.
So anybody got any questions, 4-wheel drive, off-roading, anything like that?
Any car questions?
Let's see here. Top tip. You have to turn notifications on in YouTube also on your device. Make sure YouTube can send you notifications too. But here's the thing. I have notifications set for my channel, and I haven't gotten my notification yet that Poe on the Go is live. I haven't gotten it for the last 3 live streams that I've done. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. Poe, Chad, have you ever driven on the other side, like in England? Chad?
I wish I could say I have, but no, I haven't. I mean, it would probably freak me out just because you're so used to doing it the right way. Am I right, guys? I'm just kidding, Alex.
I have. I've driven on the opposites on the European style in Europe, in Britain, and I can't remember if Germany was like that or not, but Japan, Thailand, Malaysia, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam. I've driven on the opposite side there. And yeah, I know how a British person coming to America feels. It's very disorienting and alien to you when you first start doing it. After a while, it's just like old hat. So, question: how fast have you both ever driven in a car, Chad?
I gotta admit to doing illegal stuff here.
Who says you weren't on a test track?
Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, let me think. I don't want to exaggerate it, but I think pretty close to 100, Poe.
There you go. It's good. You're getting there.
Friend of Nissan Leaf, by the way.
There is an island that is considered part of the city of River Rouge, even though it's separated from River Rouge by Detroit. It's out in the Detroit River called Sug Island, home of U.S. Well, it was U.S. I don't know what it's called anymore, but they have the big blast furnaces and everything on this island. And there was a rail company that had that kept cars and equipment, things like that there for the railroad. And so I was there. I saw that they had a jet engine on a rail car. And what they would do is put that in front of the semi engine and turn it on, and it would literally blow and melt the snow and ice right off the tracks for the trains. So, and when you got real heavy snow and all that, they can actually cause trains to derail. It's kind of crazy. So I saw that. I was talking to the owner of the company, and he said they were going to scrap it out. And I said, hey, wait a minute. I said, what are you going to get for it scrap? He goes, well, and he told me the price. I said, I'll give you that. I go, I want to make something out of that. So found out it was the jet engine out of an F-104 Starfighter, which was a major interceptor fighter jet that we had here in the United States, a very fast plane. And so there's a guy out of Ohio that does a lot of work with like the jet engine dragsters, the jet engine pullers and things like that. So I went down and talked to him. He checked the engine over, made sure everything was good to go. And a friend of mine and I actually made a jet dragster. I got it up to 285 miles an hour before I about peed my pants. And then let my foot off the pedal, but my buddy got it up to almost 300. So it was crazy. That's the fastest I've ever been in a monster truck. I'd say probably 40, 50 miles an hour. One time I actually cleared 10 cars with a single jump in a monster truck, but ended up breaking both hands and my jaw on that one and get myself knocked out. So it was a lot of thoughts, a lot of fun times there. Chad, we might have to put you in the seat of that truck, let you see how you do.
Sounds good.
I tell you what, I got a tooth permanently knocked sideways from a hit I took in one of those old heavy leaf spring monster trucks. Wow. These new ones with the big shocks and all that, oh, they're like landing on pillows. The only thing you get is when you bottom out, you'll get what we call stung in it. That's where it knocks the air or the wind out of you. Wow. What are your thoughts on the Porsche 4x4? I think it's called the Cayenne. Chad, you seen any of those?
Personally, I'm not really a Porsche person, but I do actually like the Cayennes.
I like the look of them and everything, but everybody I know has just monumental problems with them. Their transmission problem, drivetrain problems, all different kinds of problems with them. It seems like they're really divas, like a lot of the Range Rovers there were for a while, spending a huge amount of times in the shop, and they just, just not good. And for the amount of money you pay for them. Yeah. Good indicator is when you look in like Facebook Marketplace and things like that for cars that would be considered specialty or some kind of top dollar kind of car. And when you see how many of the Porsche Cayennes that are for sale, it gives you an idea of just about the longevity of them. And that's why I won't have one. Let's see. Postate Alex. When I was a kid, I used to love it when I visited Canada, got to go sit in the driver's seat. Okay. Nice. He's talking about driving on the opposite sides of the road and everything.
Yeah, for a kid, that would be nice.
There's 114. Wasn't that what was the really ugly one that they came out with in the 80s for Porsche? Was that the 914?
Well, 944 is more of the lower model, isn't it?
Is that what it was?
944 is like the entry level one, I believe.
I just remember it because the 9. Was it the 944 or 914? I know that they had two of them that looked a lot alike.
Could be right.
I don't know which is which. Somebody who knows what they're
talking about. Body engine, that could be why it was cheaper.
Oh, the 914 was the little Spider. That was but they came out with that car. I wasn't a huge fan of them. I know a lot of people got them because they were Porsche. And, for me, I like the old school Porsches, the ones that are air cooled, no air conditioning, no radio. They have the little Volkswagen air cooled engine in the back. And man, not fast, but it felt like you were doing Mach 3 in those things. That motor just whining out, the vibration, the feel of it, hugging the road. Those are great little cars to drive. Let's see here. Marshawn, I've done 100, but just for a minute. Yeah, I was a cop. I mean, we get in chases that go over 100 miles an hour quite often. That you get used to it. Let's see. What is an invisible fence? An invisible fence, Gary, is when you have a monster like I do named Roscoe. Roscoe can jump. He can literally jump up, touch nose to nose with me, and I'm 6'2". So you put him behind a 4-foot fence. He's over it in about 8.5 seconds once he finds out how to get up and over it without getting himself caught up. So we had to get something that was going to keep. I don't like the thought of tethering him, to put him on a leash in the yard, and he'd be kept on that. So what we did was we had this company called Invisible Fence come in, and they come in and they set an electric wire in the ground that goes to a controller in the house, and they bury it underground. He has a collar on that when he gets too close to it, it will beep a series of beeps, letting him know he's getting too close. If he actually if he ignores that and keeps going, he gets a zap with it. It's like a training collar for a dog. And believe me, once we put that on him, we don't have any problems with him going out of the yard, but he's so dumb. He gets so mad at that cat, he'll run right through it. So, my dad always thought it's stupid when people buy big 4x4s and never use them to go off road or need power store. Yeah. We call them pavement princes is what we call trucks like that. I've never had a 4x4 that I didn't use it for 4x4. I need it. The wife would get stuck in the snow. I always had a winch on them or something. I always carry tow straps with them. But yeah, I believe if you're going to have a 4x4, it needs to be usable. Just having one for the sake of having a pretty truck it doesn't make much sense to me. What do you think about that, Chad?
I agree. I do agree.
Yeah,
I mean, I've had 4x4 trucks, but I mean, we have Buffalo winters, so I used to use them in the winter.
Yeah,
or if you're actually, needed to get some wood or something.
But when I was a teenager, I liked the big tall trucks. I liked having the big loud tall trucks that everybody looked at when you're driving down the road, just like any teenager does.
Yeah.
It's just that as I've gotten older, if I'm going to have something, it has to have utilitarian value for me. The only time I would do anything like that where I would have a vehicle just for the fact I like the looks of it or its performance is if I had another one of those Lamborghini Diablos. I would have a car like that. It's absolutely useless for anything else, but that's a sexy car.
Yep, so. Just like the Lotus. Yep.
Let's see. Fastest I've been, I think, was 145. And geez, that was crazy. Yeah, it gets real. I went on a high-speed pursuit training course at the Chrysler Proving Grounds out near Ann Arbor. And we had to complete a course. It was an obstacle course that we had to compete. And part of it was we had to make 3 laps on a NASCAR graded track, which meant it had the high banks and the turns. And then you had a section that had water barrels that were 12 feet apart. You had to thread those at 130 miles an hour and do so safely. And so, yeah, I've been through some fun training, plus with the monster trucks and all that stuff, Nasty Nathaniel's in the house. What's up, Nice. Nasty Nathaniel? When you going to go get yourself arrested for another border conflict there, son? He has, if you guys don't know who he is, Nasty Nathaniel's been on a couple times now. Great guy. He does First Amendment auditing, has a really good channel, Nasty Nathaniel. Make sure you get over and check him out. He's a really good guy. I consider him a friend. I think Chad does as well. Yep. So yeah, he's a good guy, and he has some great content on First Amendment auditing. Marjan, Scotty, wait a minute. You should lease some high-end cars just so you can give it back and not responsible for, but you lease them, they go, and if they're high-end cars, believe me, they go fine-tooth comb through those.
They want a lot of money for those leases too.
Mm-hmm. Apostate Alex, can you explain the U.S. car chase thing from cops' perspective? In the UK, they bring it to a tactical stop pretty quickly, but there are so many videos of hour-long U.S. car chases. Well, you got to understand that the whole mentality about car chases has gone so many different routes in this country. For a long time, it was you cut it off immediately. Then it went back to no, you keep it going. You get them stopped. Now we have stop sticks. We have things called the grabber, which departments are starting to use. It's literally a pod that comes out the front of an SUV, and it deploys a cargo net around one of the tires and actually locks the tire in so they can't move forward. One of my big problems is I've never been a fan of police chases, being part of them. I just think that there's too much danger to the public at large from police chases. And you have someone that's scared that is running from police, and next thing you know, they run through an intersection on a red light, end up killing a family. And my family and I were on our way to Daytona, Florida, and the highway was shut down on the other side. And when we got up to it, we were crawling at a snail's pace. I notified one of the officers. I'm an off-duty officer from Michigan. You guys need any help? Everything okay? We found out that someone had been running from the police, I think it was Georgia State Police. And at one point they got off of an exit and got back on the wrong way and actually hit a family, I think of 5 or 6, killing the entire family. And, all that for a police chase. And this person was just wanted for non-life-threatening charges to begin with. It was a traffic stop that turned into a chase. So I've never been a big fan of car chases. I literally had people that I worked with, which would do something called headhunting, where they would go out into an area where they knew that stolen cars or people dealing drugs would be in, and they would stop a car. You'd hear them, I'll be out on traffic give the information out. And then 30 seconds later, I'll be clear advised. And then a minute later, they're out on the same thing, keep doing it all day long. And what they were doing was they were hoping to find a car that would end up leading them into a high-speed pursuit. So, I put a kibosh to that as quickly as I could. I mean, you're putting people's lives in danger, and I think far too many officers take police chases too personal. You have to look at it from a professional level. I also understand you're going to have high amounts of adrenaline coming out of these folks. That's why you see them when they stop the vehicles. They're out there screaming, "Get the F out of the car, get the F on the ground, get your hands behind your back." They're screaming. That's not because they're going insane. They have huge amounts of adrenaline pumping out of them. But I think that, once we start getting more and more technology into it where we'll be able to stop vehicles without having high-speed chases, it'd be great. I like some of the things they're doing in California where the officers back off. They allow the helicopter units to continue following the vehicle unseen. The vehicle slows down. They get into an area, they box them in, they take the person into custody. I like those a lot. Here in Michigan, for a long time, I don't know if the law has changed, but last I heard, you couldn't do anything like barricaded roadway kind of stuff where you park police cars across the road, because that would, be, the officers could actually be charged with homicide on that. So, yeah, the hour-long police chases, a lot of times it's because either their state doesn't have the law allowing them to do what's called a pit maneuver, or they're up against a vehicle that's just too strong for the patrol cars to pit them out. If you have the pit maneuver, you notice these car chases go down pretty quick. So once they use the pit, they get them off the road. So, Chad, when you've been chased by the police, was it did they use pit maneuver on you? Pepper spray? What'd they do?
Once again, I wish I had a story like that, but unfortunately, that's never happened.
I've been in so many car chases. It's not even a joke. And every time I hated doing them. And my thing was, I wasn't worried about me getting hurt. It was someone in public, an innocent, being hurt because of the chase. So, Marjan, I want to go to Germany to do the Autobahn. You can drive over 120. I've been to Germany, but if I'd been on the Autobahn, I don't remember it. I would say I'd probably remember it because of the speeds, but I don't think I've ever been on the Autobahn. But you know what? I mean, you can go out west, and there's sections out west where the highways have no speed limits because you've literally got 100, 120 miles of nothing but flat desert. And you're not going to see anything. There's no gas stations, no stores, no restaurants, anything like that. So they take them off. Here in northern Michigan. The highways have speeds of 75 miles an hour. So you could technically go 85 miles an hour with no problem. Most officers are going to wait till you're doing about 12 miles an hour over the speed limit before they're going to stop you anyway. Nasty Nathaniel, thank you, sir. I consider you and Chad a friend as well. Well, you better, because we consider you a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let's see here. John B, could you make little drones that stick in the tire and flatten them? Well, not you, Lockheed Martin, maybe. I'm sure they already have something like that. The problem is getting them to be fast enough and being able to have enough strength or inertia behind them to actually penetrate the rubber of the tire when they're going down the road. That's why spike strips work really great. They're designed, an officer can literally sling them out there and get them in front of a car. I know there's a lot of times where they miss because they'll see them throwing them out or something like that, but there's far more times where they're effective and do what they need. And they're actually designed to where the spikes themselves, as the car goes over, they break off and they stick into the tire and they're hollow. So the air comes right out. And spike strips are pretty crazy. That grabber is insane. Literally, you see it come up, you see this arm go like this, whoa, and next thing it's this bright yellow, it's like toe strap material woven together to create a cargo net. It gets around that tire and they just lock up the brakes on that SUV, and next thing you know, the chase is over. I'd be interested to see. I've heard about things about EMTs, electromagnetic pulse guns that they're talking about, but they require huge amounts of electricity to be able to do it. So, Chad, when you got pepper sprayed by that woman at Walmart, how'd that feel?
I can imagine it does not feel good.
Oh, it don't, man.
I wish I had half the stories.
Getting tased, man. You pee your pants, forget who you are for half an hour. It's bad stuff. Alex, have you ever seen the way UK police cars bring a tactical stop with the box maneuver? Yeah. those were actually made illegal at one point here. I think they've been making their way back. I think boxing in is great. The problem is that being able to have the vehicles that, in the UK, oftentimes with the chases I'm seeing, they're not going as fast as we get here. But I also see a lot of chases out of UK where they just don't have the roadway to do it. And it's the thing is that you start trying to box them in, they start ramming the police cars. What do you do at that point? So you got to be real careful with it. And the big thing is as little danger to public or to any party involved is the best option to it. Let's see, Marjan, I've gone to Death Valley. Yeah, I've been to Death Valley in California, and I didn't like it. Hot, desolate. Okay. They call them weasel teeth. I'd never heard them called that. I heard them called as the spikes themselves. Apostate Alex. Oh my God, we can talk about drones. They are awesome. I think Japan. You going to sleep there, Chad?
Yeah, a little. I'm okay though.
They have these personal drones that follow elderly people if they fall, call for help and instructions by passerby. I've heard of those, but I've never actually seen them. And you got to remember, I go to Japan a lot. A lot of these things I see them putting out there on television as this is a new technology they're using in Japan and things like that. And you don't see them. But drone technology is incredible nowadays. Chad, you have any experience with using the drones at all?
Just the ones for kids. My son likes them. They're pretty cool. Even the kid ones are pretty cool.
Yeah, they're. We were looking at them with the police department when I was chief. One of the big things is the city that I was chief of was right on Lake Erie. So you get boaters and swimmers that go way out beyond where they should be, and people lose contact with them, and they would get upset about things. They'd be worrying this person's going to drown or something like that. And what was crazy is the best thing that we had at that point was we would send the fire department out in a longboat, a rescue boat, to try to go and find these people. Well, think about it. If I can deploy a drone that'll sit 100 to 200 feet above the water, has the ability of infrared for nighttime rescues, things like that, you send that up along with the fire department, you can actually find that person much quicker because you're a much bigger field of view. You're not looking horizontally at water that's moving up and down. And you can find that person by their heat signature in the water as compared to anything else that's there. And I think that it would have been a great thing for us to be able to use. I know that the sheriff's department there, Monroe County Sheriff's Department, has an amazing professional, like a $50,000 drone that they use. But, for smaller departments, when you don't have an hour and a half to wait for the sheriff's department to get there with their drone, having one of your own is great. So let's see. I saw something. Let's see. How about super powerful lasers? Shoot it from the police car behind a burn hole on the tires, make it pop. That'd be awesome. But what do you do when it burns right through and burns some kid's eye out down the road? And the next thing you know, that officer would be going to prison for that. I mean, it's, they come up with these great ideas, tell us they want us to use them and that they're super safe. And next thing you know, they're not as safe as you thought they were. Interesting debate. Boxing maneuver is arguably safer as it ends the chase and gets them off the road quicker, but pros and cons on both sides. Yeah, and that's the thing is that they all have their own place. As for the box maneuver being safer, that's an open debate, because what do you do when the person starts ramming? And here in America, that's a pretty common thing that happens. I don't know about there in the UK, but I've seen the videos where they're chasing the people on the mopeds, and they're literally just running them down with the police cars. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I just think that there needs to be a way where you could just automatically shut the car off and stop it right then and there. And that would be the safest way for all. It shuts it off, locks up the brakes, locks the doors. The people can't get out of the car till the police officer gets up. Police officer has the ability to have the doors unlocked, takes the person in custody. Bam, bam, boom. Till we can get to that point, hopefully manufacturers are willing to work and get things going. But oftentimes, if they can't make a profit off of it, they don't really care. Alex, how about an extendo glove like Wacky Racers? Yeah. Let me see if I can find a video of the grabber. It's pretty cool. Is it the grappler? Yeah, the grappler. All right. let's see. That's the one I want. I've got to go to actually YouTube for that to get it. It's when you see it, you'll understand it. It's pretty crazy. Grappler police bumper. There we go. All right, let's find one. I don't want one of these hour-long ones, but all right. And we'll pause it. I'll go ahead and load that so y'all can see it. Me personally, this right now seems to be my favorite of the police pursuit stop things. Now watch the vehicle coming up. Looks like he's on there trying to slow him down. Coming up with that.
Oh wow!
And you see there, it's got that big heavy duty tow strap, and the chase is over with. It's
that was quick and easy.
Yeah, so that's why that is my personal favorite. It's just I wonder about the wear and tear on the patrol vehicles, what it's going to do to them, and how departments are going to look at them, whether or not they find that to be a viable option. But I would say a city like Los Angeles, where they have so many chases every day of the week, that would seem to be something great for them. You have a vehicle that's specifically built for it, has high speed, good handling, can hold, and because of the weight that it takes to hold something like that, that vehicle is going to be able to stop anything that it's chasing pretty quick. But as you notice, you had the lead vehicle came up and around, started slowing it down. Second one came in behind, attached that, bam, went right over the tire, and it's gone. I love that. And no one's hurt. No one's hurt. Well, somebody's pride's hurt, somebody's feelings are hurt, but nothing. That's wild. A bit of a ram up the back through. What if there's a kid in the back without a seatbelt? Well, the problem is that most likely, well, as you saw, they were slowing them down as it was, and it wasn't that. I don't think that was the kind of speed where you could actually put someone through a windshield or not. But the problem is how do you know if there's a child in the back? How do you know what's in that vehicle? And the thing is that there's always some risk to it. So, I mean, and you saw the area they were at. If they tried to box them in and they just took a right, they're off into the gullies or whatever, and they're on their way, still running from the police. So, you do what you can. There's no perfect system right now, but hopefully we can get something that's useful. Random question. Is it illegal to be on your phone while driving in the U.S. or different for each state? Is it legal to drive with your phone in your hand, Chad, in New York?
Yeah, you can't have it in your hand. It's not since the, I forgot what year, but at least 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Michigan has we had a texting and driving law. Now it is a electronic device law. You're not allowed to have it in your hand at all. You're not allowed to have your phone up to your head, those kinds of things. Ohio just came out with one. It's all going to be state dependent. As part of the Constitution, each state has the right to enforce and create their own laws. Florida, you'd have to check with Florida laws themselves. But like the wife and I both now have the old dog bone style Bluetooth earpieces, so when we're driving we can use our phones without having to touch anything, because you get pulled over and next thing you know you're stuck. I think some states it's up to a $500 ticket now. So have I ever seen a Ute? Heck yeah, I love the Utes. Based off of the El Camino and the what was the Ford version of the El Camino?
Oh, I forgot the name of it.
That was the first thing came up. It was the Ranchero.
Oh, okay.
I actually had a 77 Ranchero. It was a piece of crap, but I love the Utes. That whole crossover between car and truck. The El Camino was very popular here in the United States. It was never offered, and I don't believe it was ever offered in a factory 4x4. You had to actually have it converted by a shop that did those kinds of things. Apostate Alex reminds you of Breaking Bad. I to this day I love El Caminos. Never was a really huge fan of the Ranchero. I had one, and I think that's why I wasn't a big fan of it. Hey, Catherine Gallagher, thank you for joining us, and hello to you as well. Also, Gnome Sane and Ellie Mae. Ellie Mae says, "Hey, Chad from Canada."
Hey, Chad. I always say hi, Ellie Mae.
So did the other live stream end, or what's going on? We've been talking about off-road vehicles, different kinds, and everything with us turns into 50 million things. So, Chad, what's something you'd like to do in the off-roading category, things like that?
I mean, it sounds like fun. I would like to go. I would like to off road someday,
Yeah.
and I would like the 4x4 too. Those like I said, I was on it once with my
Right.
cousin when I was a kid.
What's the big arena there in Buffalo?
Let me think. There's a couple of them. There's the Bisons for
Oh, give me 1 second. You take over and
Yeah, I'll
talk for a
take
little bit.
over.
I gotta grab Ross.
No worries. All right. So what? I'm trying to think of which one he wants because the Bisons is baseball. The Bills is it's called Highmark Stadium now. It used to be called Rich Stadium. So I'm not sure which one he's thinking of. It's getting hot over here. Am I right, guys? How's everyone's day going? Ellie Mae, always great to see you, and everyone else too. It's getting hot over here. Too cheap to run the air conditioner, so it's got the fans going. Hope everyone's day is going good. Yeah, someday we have to plan it out, Marjan, but that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Oh, hey, B Baron. Yeah, B Baron. Somebody said that was on my end. I mean, obviously I don't hear it because that's maybe but
Chad's trying to shirk his responsibility and he's putting.
I was running the show.
That could be, for all we know, that could be Chaz tied up in the closet screaming. And that's what we hear is a high pitch. Let's see here, Marjan. Did you know there used to be a car racing in Death Valley? Oh yeah. NASCAR started from the beach racing in Daytona, where they literally were racing cars up and down the beach, and then it grew into that huge multi-billion-dollar sport we now call NASCAR. And it also has its history in the moonshiners, the people who were running the moonshine, trying to keep away from the police and everything. And they started building faster and faster cars, finding different ways to fuel them, finding out that the moonshine could actually power the car quicker than gasoline. So, yeah, there's been a lot. I've been to the Salt Flats, and I'm seeing the high speed test runs going on there. Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, and been out there seeing that. I've seen a lot of great stuff. I've been very fortunate in my life that, I had the ability, I was close enough to go and see things happen, or, after the wife and I married and we got, we were going along, she was like, hey, you want to go have fun. So I've been very fortunate in that.
It is cool.
Take a look here, see what, Kobev, hey, what's going on? Is it hot? Is it hot in there, or is it just at Coldwater, Chad?
It's definitely Clearwater. Buffalo is almost 90 today.
Joel McCoy's here. Welcome,
Hey,
Joel. Howdy, hi, friends and neighbors. Howdy. Let's see. Morphobot M4 is a recent creation that scientists created that can drive, walk, and fly on the same wheels that house propellers. There's a neat video of it doing that. Morphobot. Let me take a look and see. There's a lot of these new flying car kind of systems going out there. Morphobot. Okay, I see what you're talking about. That looks like it right now. It is. I'm trying to find the shortest video. All right. We'll pause it. We'll go ahead and present that. But there's a lot of great ideas coming out nowadays that we didn't have before. And this is the Morphobot. Let's see what we got. Yeah, this is an RC size. I can already see the propellers and the wheels. In a lot of ways, that's close to what they call a ducted fan system for propellers. So this looks like it's all 3D printed. It's all RC controlled. It doesn't look like it's really that good at making turns. What do you think of, Chad?
I mean, it's pretty impressive so far. Like you said, it doesn't have that great of turning range yet.
Yeah, I think it'll be a whole lot more maneuverable in this configuration.
Yeah,
The thing is that this looks like it is a prototype, and
yeah.
it's understandable. There's going to be learning curves to it, just like with a Mars rover or something like that. It's a neat little thing. Yeah, as you see, when it turns, it actually slides the rear wheels as it turns. But yeah, that's neat. I like that. Has anyone seen the Jetson 1? That is a really interesting concept vehicle that's coming out. I believe they're actually selling them now. But let me see if I can find a short video of it. This is something I would love to get my hands on. Or let's see.
It sounds good because I like the Jetsons.
Well, it's a little bit different. We'll use this one. Let me pause it and we'll share this. Jetson 1 is a new concept. I believe it's from Italy. Let's see. Yeah, I don't remember exactly where it's from, but it's a designed off of the drone technology where you have the multiple propeller type engines that are going to lift it, give it its propulsion, and it uses a cage type setting that the pilot sits in. I believe it uses something akin to an iPad to help with it, and it's basically just a big drone that anyone could fly in. Let me turn this down a little bit. Don't want to get hit with any copyright music, but if you can see it there, you have someone sitting in it. It has 4 pods that come off of it. They have propellers above and below it, and I believe it has a top speed of around 45 miles an hour. And the configuration, as I understand it right now, it may be the type of vehicle that falls under the ultralight category, the Part 103 category for ultralights in the United States, where you would not have to have a license to fly it. But this is one of the new technologies that's coming out there, and it's changing the way we look at things and the way that things operate.
Yeah,
I mean,
we got to try, right?
Yeah, and the thing is that right now the battery, it's just like with regular drones, the battery technology isn't there. They can't fly for extended periods of time, but they're neat. I'd love to have one. It's just there's something else I don't have $200,000 for. Here's one up your alley here, Joel McQueen. Right. A friend of mine got an electric bike. He loves it. He hardly went anywhere, but since he's got it, he is all over town.
Oh, I like anything electric, so that's cool.
That's right up your alley there. Right? What's that?
I'm kidding. I said Poe's getting a Cybertruck. That's great, though.
No, I don't even like the look of it. Does this make this cool sound? I wish it did that sound of the Jetson space car. That would be awesome. My cousin in Indiana had a 4x4, took me off-roading around his property while I visited. It was wild. First time I went. That was awesome. Yeah, I mean, off-roading, you're going out there and you're literally testing the limits of your vehicle suspension and how it can handle. We literally used to go out and beat the daylights out of our trucks going off-roading. The drone stuff has so much potential. I have some awesome ideas about what we could use drones. Yeah, I mean, the ability of drones, you're seeing a lot of departments are moving away from helicopters and getting into the higher end drone systems. Chad, you're frozen up, and that picture is so creepy, dude. I didn't pull him out. I loved having that picture up there. Marjan, yeah, it would be awesome. Let's see. Yeah, we'll see. Yes, I saw that. It's very interesting. Did you see the new GE engines that they are using? That they're coming out, that they say are going to come on the new, they should come out 2024. It's a new GE engine, and apparently it uses around half the fuel and produces higher thrust than the current engines in the 777s, the 787s, the Airbus A380s. So it's going to be incredible, and hopefully we'll actually start seeing some prices going down in some of the tickets to go flying internationally. We're looking up everything because we're getting everything put together for the 6,000 mile Southeast Asian motorcycle trip. And the thing is that the airline tickets right now, if I were to try to get a ticket for up to September, it's going to cost me somewhere close to $2,000 for a round trip ticket to, say, Bangkok and back, or even Japan, which I find really interesting. And the man is back.
Sorry about that. I'm on my phone now. I don't know what happened.
That was like the creepiest picture in where you're like, and I was like, that's like those pictures that follow you through the house, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, hopefully airline prices are going to be coming down. Now more and more people are traveling. So hopefully we're going to start seeing things come down. That'd be great. Gnome saying, I own one of the original Segways, rode it to work every day until our city clarified the illegality of them, which meant a $2,500 fine. That's crazy. Where do you live at, Gnome? Like here in Michigan, municipalities cannot create ordinances that can fine you over $500 or maybe $1,000. But as far as I know, I believe it's $500 is the maximum that you can be fined for violating a city ordinance. So yeah, let me know where you're at. Chad, have you ever been on a Segway?
On a what? The Segway?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
They're the two wheels. Let me find a picture for you. Remember Paul Blart, Mall Cop?
Nope.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah. Why do I get the feeling you're fibbing? There we go. That should be good. I'll be able to use that one. There. Those machines.
No, those are cool though.
Yeah, they have this unique gyro system in them that you lean forward or lean back, makes them go forward, slow down, and stop. Turning is shifting your weight, and they turn, and they're very fast. Once you get used to them, I was scared to death because when first time I got on one, I was in my mid to late 40s, and I'm like, man, if I'm going down on this thing, it's going to break something. But once I actually got used to it, it was very fun little thing. We used to use them for the big festivals and fairs, things like that. Easy way to get around. Wow. But yeah, little electric powered things, and we loved them. Marjan, her husband is in drones. I have tried to email you, but not sure if you got them. I didn't see anything about the drones. I saw the other ones that you got, but you got to remember, Marjan, the one you sent me about the drill sergeant. I've sent it. Everyone you've asked me if I would be interested in working with them, I've sent emails to them. I'm just they either don't get back with me or they're too busy. But some of those folks have. Like the drill sergeant, he has 1.5 million subscribers to his channel. Somebody like me, that's just over 3,000. I'm a nobody to those kinds of people, but hopefully, some of them will get back with me and we can do some work together. I'm working on, there's a gentleman named John Dobb, has a channel called Only in Japan Go. It's a great channel. And I'm working with him, trying to get him on to do a live stream with me, do an interview with him about living in Japan and everything. And, he's a guy that's got over 250,000 subscribers to his channel. And, it's just a matter of when you're a little fish in a big pond, you don't, you take what you can get. And some folks are actually nice enough that they'll talk to you. And I've got a couple that have agreed they're going to come on. We just have to figure out the right timing for it. Let's see. It was a local pedal power cyclist advocate groups that ensured Segway was outlawed. Now, 10 years later, the law changed because there are scooter hire companies all over. Oh, yeah, you're in Australia then. Yeah, you different laws and different limits on what they can do there. But yeah, here in Michigan, I can tell you that, it's all a matter of you can't go over a $500 fine on any kind of city ordinance. Yeah, I find it interesting. The way that they got around a lot of these laws that they made for the bicyclists in the cities and things like that is they just completely overwhelmed them with these electric scooters that are out everywhere now. So, what do? Everybody and their cousin's doing it. And the minute that you don't give someone a ticket, but you give someone else a ticket, then it shows bias and favoritism, things like that. No, I am not a legend. I am just an old guy who has done crazy stuff in his life. 9 times out of 10 things that happen with me are right place, right time kind of things, and have been, have had real good luck with running into stuff that I had. By then I had already donated to the RSPCA for their costume mascots to ride around $1 million. Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's too bad. I know that those original Segways, boy, those were expensive. Ooh. You know, and they're a great mobility, someone who can't walk for long distances, things like that, but they don't want to be on one of those rascals, you know, the things you see at you know, the Mart of the Wall, where, you know, you have the 400 pounders who have the grab sticks, and they're, you know, they're just the folks that just, you know, get up and walk that weight away. How many times have you seen it that you can do it? You just have to have that drive in you. But, you know, for the folks who want to get around, but they don't want to be on those mobility scooters, they can use the Segways. Great little things for them. All right, folks. Well, we're at an hour and a half long here on this. I think it's we've had a pretty good time with it. Chad, how about you?
It's a lot of fun. I love these.
You want to start? Let's get Simon lined up for next week. We'll do next Wednesday at 8. We'll have Simon Borderline Watt come on and join us. Simon has an amazing life history of living right down from the Lotus factory. His family, including himself, have been deeply involved in the F1 racing series over in Europe. Really good guy, has a lot of insight into the world of European cars, racing, sports cars, supercars, the likes. And okay, yeah, Free Xenu, we're getting ready to go anyway, but thanks for jumping in. As always, welcome here. Let's see. And so it's going to be a great time. It's going to be for true wrench heads who want to talk about what's going on with cars and such. So you know my history. I've had big off-road vehicles. I've had my own supercar. Yeah, that's right, Marjan. If you believe it and you're willing to put the work in and on it, you will make it happen. Thank you for that super chat. So as always, folks, Chad, you got any closing thoughts for us here?
I'll change it up this time. No, I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us, and I do enjoy the car talk, Paul.
Yeah, I have a great time with these. And tomorrow night, start at 6:00, I will be back for another Cop Talk with Chief Poe. We're going to talk about some other things that are going on. We're going to talk about I want to talk about the less than lethal alternatives that law enforcement officers have. And the fact that even though it's called less than lethal, because the reason why they call it less than lethal is that in 90% of situations, it should result with a non-lethal impact or a non-lethal confrontation. So I want to talk about those things, the use of force, and what's going on in the law enforcement world. As always, folks, you get one shot at this life. You make it count. And thank you.